Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. I hope everyone watching and those who are watching later are having a good week. I hope those of you that are in the path of Milton are getting the heck out of Dodge and getting somewhere safe. Milton looks like he's going to be a typical man and destroy a lot of things. So please do whatever you need to do to be safe. Now, I will be honest, I am a bit jet lagged, but I had an amazing time in Finland and France. However, I will say I'm happy to be back in Texas with Double H, Jasper, and all of the fur babies. I will say in my next life, I want to live in the French Riviera where I can eat amazing food, have amazing scenery, and champagne to die for. So, I am Teri True Crime, and welcome to Midday Missing, where I cover current missing person cases. Now, True Crime and Wine Time Productions is now officially TCWT Media. We are growing and evolving to bring you even more engaging content, but rest assured, all of your favorite shows will continue just under our new name. At TCWT Media, we offer a wide range of shows like our original True Crime and Wine Time, The Hey Ho Show, The Investigation into the Disappearance of Chase Lackey, Night Court, Midday Missing, The Transcripts, and our latest series, Dearest Mother's Darkest Secrets, which is exclusively on YouTube with new episodes out every Tuesday. However, channel members get early access a full week before the public. So we do go live several times a week, and we also have pre recorded content. So be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay in the loop. We have so much exciting content coming up that you're not going to want to miss it. And I am excited. If you do not follow us on social media, this will be the first time you're hearing this. We have a very special episode of True Crime and Wine Time coming on Monday. So that's next Monday, October 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Me and JT will have two special guests. So, Chief Judge Belvin Perry Jr. and Amy Mitchell. They are the co authors of The Velvet Hammer, which is, I'm going to read you the little blurb they have about the book. It is a gripping true crime memoir of former Chief Judge Belvin Perry Jr., who sentenced some of Florida's most evil and notorious murderers to death, fulfilling his oath to uphold justice. Perry provides a clear, accurate description of America's criminal justice system and explains why the death penalty can and should work and how it is applied to certain capital murder cases he either prosecuted or presided over. He also discusses his journey as an African American growing up in the segregated South, his life as a prosecutor and chief judge, and how he ended up presiding over one of the world's most intriguing capital murder trials of the century, State of Florida versus Casey Marie Anthony. So I know if you're a true crime lover, you know about Casey Anthony, the most hated woman in America. He also presided over the widow who slowly poisoned her lovers, to the lust murderer who mutilated his victims while she was still alive, to the serial killer who slayed a family of four, including his own child, as well as several other violent and frightening murders. Perry spares none of the gory details when bringing each case back to life in his debut true crime memoir. Guys, I have read the book, The Velvet Hammer. It was gripping. I could not put it down. And we are so excited that he is going to be on the show Monday with his co author, Amy Mitchell. So if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you will want to go and subscribe and set that little notification button so you get a reminder before we go live. When we're live, the chat will be open. You will be able to ask questions that we can pass along to Judge Perry along with Amy. So this is truly an episode you will not want to miss. Okay. And remember, subscribing is 100% free. Okay. Now, before we get into today's case, I want to share an update from one of our cases on Monday. There was a press conference held yesterday. So I am going to read you the article about the press conference. So here we go. It has been nearly 16 months since Keshaun Williams went missing in Cleveland on June 17th, 2023. Keshaun, who was 15 years old at the time of his disappearance, then became the focus of an Ohio Amber Alert. Now, for the first time in months, authorities provided an update in this press conference pertaining to the status of the investigation. So the reward increased to $27,500, and the Amber Alert is still in effect. Also, authorities revealed that a recent tip reported in the last several weeks involves a vehicle connected to Keshaun's disappearance. And I quote, "We have reason to believe he was last seen walking away from the party and entering a dark colored SUV with a group of juvenile males," according to Deputy U.S. Marshal Piccoli. Early on, there was information that was released that a black Jeep was involved and was a suspect vehicle. That has been vetted, and that is not accurate. However, the new information about the dark colored SUV is believed to be true. Also, Keshaun's grandmother spoke out and she said, "There's people out there who know what happened to Keshaun, and I pray that you come forth and give the information you have," his grandmother said during the press conference yesterday. She said, "I am not asking if you have it. I know people have it. We're just prayerfully asking you to come forth." She says, "I do a lot of work in this community. I help a lot of people, and I want people to understand my mission is pure. I am out here to help the young people who need help. And so I'm asking the same people and people in the community to help my family in getting the information that we need for Keshaun." Okay. So I want to remind everyone, please go and share the missing person flyers that we posted to our social media accounts. I also want to ask you if you know anything about Keshaun's disappearance, do the right thing and call and tell. Remember, you can always tell anonymously to FBI.gov. Okay. This family is asking, please end their suffering. It's been too long and they want to know. Okay. So today's episode touches on a case that it's puzzling, just as puzzling as it is heartbreaking. And we're talking about the disappearance of James Solack II. Now, James was easy to spot. He had partially gray hair, piercing blue eyes, and a tattoo on his upper left arm that read Helen. At the age of 59, he set off on what should have been an adventurous trip bicycling to Florida. But something went wrong on his journey. His last known contact was on April 8th, 2024, when he was near Baltimore, Maryland. The journey would have taken him through several states, and his ultimate goal of reaching Florida with a planned stop in Surf City, North Carolina. His trip, like many cross-country treks, had its share of challenges, but nothing could predict the alarming message he would send to his ex-wife on April 8th. In that message, James explained that he had lost his backpack, which contained his money, an obstacle that would make his journey infinitely harder. But what followed in that message sent up red flags for his loved ones. James made a haunting statement. He said, "It's really hard to cut through skin to get to an artery." He had mentioned attempting this 8 times. That alarming message raises so many questions. Was James in a fragile state of mind when he sent it? Was he reaching out for help? Or was this a cry for someone to find him before it's too late? Or did someone else send this message? But guys, unfortunately, it's unclear because after that message, James has not been heard from again. Guys, that message makes my heart race and puts me in a state of panic because that is alarming. But what we do know is that James was last known to be near Baltimore, Maryland on April 8th. His ex wife, after receiving that disturbing message, attempted to contact authorities, and efforts to locate James were set into motion. The search has since widened across multiple states, but no leads have surfaced. James was an experienced traveler. At 59, he wasn't a stranger to physical endurance. The idea of him setting out on a long distance bicycling journey wasn't completely unexpected, but that loss of his backpack, along with the troubling mental state he may have been in, adds layers of complexity to his disappearance. I mean, did he harm himself? Did he meet with foul play? Or due to his mental state, has he lost his way? Guys, if an individual does these physical long distance endurance things, their mental state can become fragile. You are taxing your body, your mind, you are taxing everything about you. And I can only imagine losing your backpack with your money could put you in a very dire mental state. His family is desperate for answers, and the search continues. But guys, time is of the essence. Here it is, October 9th. And if he did make it to Florida, we all know a hurricane's getting ready to hit Florida. And if he is there having, a mental crisis, he is even more in danger. Plus, not knowing what happened in his last contact being in Maryland, what happened to him. Okay. So if you have seen James or you know anything about his whereabouts, please reach out to the appropriate authorities. You can also visit his profile on NamUs, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Person System. He is listed under MP 123728, or you can check out the Missing Persons Center. Guys, as with many of these cases, the smallest detail could be the key to finding James. Guys, just think maybe he had a mental break. Maybe he is suffering a mental crisis. He could be living on the streets, homeless. He could be in a shelter. He could be in a hospital, a facility. So please, let's not let his story fade away. Let's not let him become one of the many that answers go on unanswered for years. Okay. His family deserves answers and they deserve to know what happened on that April day. So if you have any information, please don't hesitate to come forward. You can call the Central Perks Regional Police Department at 610 779 1100. Okay, guys, let's also remember to share his flyers with his picture. They will be posted on our social media accounts. Okay. Guys, that's just so heartbreaking. Um, I've often thought, I've done the 3-day, 60-mile walk before for breast cancer. As a survivor, it was important to me to do that. And it is Breast Cancer Month. And I've often thought, do I have the physical strength to walk maybe from Houston to Dallas to Austin? And then I think, nope, that 3 days and 60 miles that I did a couple of times, I did it once in Dallas and once in San Francisco, had me in tears. So the fact that he is doing that says he is used to that physical activity, and my heart hurts for him and his family. Now, next, we're exploring the case of Maya Millete. She is a 39-year-old mother of three who vanished on January 7th, 2021, from her home in Chula Vista, California. Her stories, like so many we discuss, is one that has left an entire community searching for answers and a family shattered in the wake of her sudden disappearance. So let's start from the beginning. Maya was a devoted mother of three. She was a loving sister and a part of a close knit family. But behind the scenes, Maya's personal life was under a strain. She was married to Larry Millete. Maya had been contemplating a divorce, and according to friends and family, her marriage had been troubled for some time. Tensions in the home reportedly escalated, with Maya confiding in her loved ones about plans to leave the marriage and start a new chapter of her life. Little did anyone know, Maya would never get that chance. January 7th, 2021 started as a typical day for the Millett family. Maya was last seen at their Chula Vista residence by her husband, Larry. But after that day, she has not been heard from again. Now, 2 days later, on January 9th, Maya's sister became increasingly worried when she couldn't reach her. Maya's family knew that something was terribly wrong. It was completely out of character for Maya to cut off communication, especially with her children. Guys, the last straw came when she missed her daughter's 11th birthday, a milestone Maya wouldn't have missed without a serious reason. With growing concern, Maya was reported missing to the Chula Vista Police Department. The search began, but as the days and weeks dragged on, her family's worst fears were becoming a reality. Sorry, guys, my nose is itching. I think if your nose itches, it means you're going to come into a lot of money. So I don't know. Let it itch. As investigators dug deeper into Maya's life, a disturbing picture began to emerge. Larry Millett, Maya's husband, had a complex and some say controlling nature. It came to light that Maya had been planning to file for divorce right before her disappearance. Friends and family shared that Maya had confided in them her unhappiness in the marriage. There were also reports that Larry had been acting erratically. According to court documents, Larry had allegedly been seeking help from spellcasters, trying to use supernatural means to keep Maya from leaving him. The spellcasters were reportedly asked to make Maya stay in love with Larry, but later the requests allegedly became more disturbing, with Larry asking for spells that would incapacitate her from leaving him. Guys, that freaks me the F out. I mean, I've got Cajun family members and relatives, New Orleans, the whole voodoo thing, and voodoo dolls. But guys, this freaks me out. The fact that he is doing that tells me something's not right. Okay. As the investigation into Maya's disappearance progressed, suspicion began to focus more and more on Larry Millett. Duh, ding, ding, ding. He was the last one to see her. Despite his conflicting statements about Maya's whereabouts, Larry maintained that he had nothing to do with her disappearance. But with no solid alibi and growing evidence pointing to foul play, authorities took action. Thank you, authorities, because as we know, they don't always. In Bianca's case out of San Antonio, which we covered and then had her sister on, police and everybody pretty much know her husband did it, but they're like, nobody, no crime, right? But in October 2021, 10 months after Maya was last seen, Larry Millett was arrested and charged with first degree murder. The Chula Vista Police Department, working closely with the FBI and the San Diego District Attorney's Office, made the decision to charge Larry, even though Maya's body has not been found. Guys, I want to stop and say right there, thank you, San Diego Attorney's Office and for the Chula Vista Police Department. Thank you for standing up for a woman who went missing, who was planning on leaving her husband. Okay. I appreciate you not waiting for a body to be found because unfortunately in Texas, that shit doesn't happen. Okay. Excuse my language. It doesn't happen. So I applaud them. Now, the case against Larry rests heavily on circumstantial evidence. Investigators believe that Maya's desire to leave the marriage may have pushed Larry over the edge. Yeah, guys, he was trying to get spellcasters to make her fall in love. Guys, I'm here to tell you there is no love potions. You cannot cast a spell on someone to fall in love. That only happens in movies, okay? And life is not a Disney fairy tale, okay? Court documents allege that Larry's controlling behavior, the spell casting attempts, and the strain of the impending divorce all contributed to what they believe happened on that fateful night in January. Larry Millett remains behind bars awaiting trial for the murder of his wife, Maya. The trial is scheduled for January 6, 2025, and is expected to be one of the most watched in San Diego County as Maya's family, friends, and the public anxiously await the outcome. Guys, I am going to say I am going to reach out to JT. I know we don't cover live trials anymore on Night Court, but I may need to make a special circumstance or do something different. If this trial is streamed, I might have to take off work and stream this live during the day because I am so proud of San Diego County for prosecuting this man that I would love to watch the case because then when he's found guilty, if he's found guilty, we can share that with all of these counties in Texas that don't do that. Now, Maya's family, especially her sister, has been relentless in the pursuit of justice. They've held vigils, organized search parties, and have remained a constant voice in the media, keeping Maya's story alive. And their unwavering determination has brought attention to Maya's case, turning it into a national story and putting pressure on the authorities to act. In interviews, she has shared her heartbreak and the hope that one day they will find Maya and bring her home. She has called her sister's disappearance a nightmare and has expressed frustration that the search for Maya continues without closure. Guys, I listened to a podcast from, I believe it was Case File on my way back from Finland. And I believe it was Australia. They have a law, no parole, no body, no parole. And that intrigued me. Even in my delirious time of being awake for 36 hours, I thought, why don't more places do that? Why don't they? You get no chance at parole if you don't tell us where the body is. I mean, just because they get a chance doesn't mean it's granted. So I think that's something that we should look into. Maya's case highlights the devastating toll that domestic conflict can have, not just on the individuals involved, but on the entire family. It also raises awareness about the challenges faced by authorities in solving cases where nobody is found, but where the circumstantial evidence is compelling. Guys, in circumstantial cases, when you have all of these pieces and it puts together a puzzle that gives you a clear picture, if I was on that jury, I could find someone guilty. I don't believe you have to have DNA. Okay. I don't believe you have to have somebody that saw it. Okay. If there's enough circumstantial evidence and this person keeps changing their story, come on, guys. So, if you have any information regarding Maya's disappearance, you are urged to contact the Chula Vista Police Department at 619 691 5151. Every piece of information helps, no matter how small. Also, the Courtyard Discord will be following this case, and you can find information there as it becomes available. I also want to tell you, just because he is in jail and he's going to face trial doesn't mean the family doesn't need her returned, even if it's her remains. They would like to have her so they can bury her and say their proper goodbyes. So if you know something, please say something. Just don't think that because, oh, he's going to trial, they're gonna find him guilty, they get their answers. No, they still do not know where she is, and they want to bring her home. So, please call the Chula Vista Police Department, and remember, you can send an anonymous tip to the FBI even if they are not handling the case. So, you can always go to fbi.gov/tips. Now, today, instead of a cute little story, I wanted to share some tips for individuals who find themselves in domestic violence situations. We have already, in the short time that we've been covering missing person cases here on Midday Missing, several of the cases have had to do with individuals, most of the time women, going missing who are trying to leave a domestic violence situation or they're in a domestic violence situation. So I wanted to share some tips. As a domestic violence survivor, I will tell you, it's hard, guys, it's hard. And so many people judge. I want to tell you, if you're one of those people, stop. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to have your self esteem knocked down so far that you think it's your fault. You are truly brainwashed and just beaten down to where you're like, what's wrong with me? Why does this person do this? I can even tell you when I went to the priest, because I had been married in the Catholic Church, and I said, what do I do about my husband cheating on me and verbally abusing me and physically abusing me? And the priest looked at me and he goes, well, what could you do to not make him do that? Yes, guys, that is what this priest said to me. And that was wrong. That priest should not have said that to me. Yes, marriage is a vow you make. Yes, I made that vow in a Catholic church. But you know what? So did he. And nowhere in those vows did it say I was a doormat or a punching bag. Okay. And I've also come to the decision that not all priests are that way, but priests are not married. They've never been married. They are the last person that should be giving any kind of marriage advice, in my opinion. It is also what pushed me away from the Catholic Church. And I will never forgive that priest. You know, I did finally get out of that marriage, and I met Double H, and I swore I'd never get married again after that. But I'm here to tell you I met Double H, and after going through therapy and a lot of work to get past that, I found a man that loves me for who I am because I am not perfect. Double H has to put up with me. Okay, guys. If you have followed me for a while or the podcast, you know I'm a lot of work. I'm a little bit high maintenance, but I have a huge heart. And I want to tell you, I had people also say to me, "Well, why didn't you leave sooner? Why didn't you leave the first time you did it?" Okay, seriously, don't say that shit. Okay, don't say that shit. That's wrong. Until you've lived it, don't give an opinion. Sit there, be a supportive friend, and just tell them you're there for them when and if they are ready to leave. Okay. So, escaping a domestic violence situation is incredibly challenging. And, guys, it's extremely dangerous, but it's a critical step towards safety and freedom. I am so fortunate that when I picked up the phone and tried to call my ex-sister-in-law, but I still say she's my sister by choice, and I told her what had just happened, she called the police, and they came. My husband never came back. That was it for me. I sent my children to their dad's house, and I got on a plane and I flew to Houston, where my best friend Cheryl met me at the airport with a bouquet of flowers. And I went to her house where for a week I cried on her couch and asked what was wrong with me. Why did he do this to me? What was so damaged in me that made a man think he could do that to me? And she said, "You need to talk to somebody. It's not you. Okay. No man has a right to do that to you." And not everybody has that. And I want to tell you, it is dangerous, but it can be done. Okay. So here are some steps for to help those in an abusive relationship. And I want my first thing I want to tell you, do not judge. Do not judge them. Okay. Do not. And first, recognize the signs of abuse. Understand that abuse can be physical, emotional, psychological, financial, or sexual. Okay. And acknowledge the patterns of control, manipulation, and violence. Guys, if you are married and your husband controls all of the money and only gives you like $100 cash to get your kids groceries, lunch, and leaves it where there's nothing left, that is financial manipulation. That is abuse. There's a difference between being on a budget because you don't have money and someone controlling it. I also want to say abuse is not done just by men. Okay. Women can be the abuser too. So I want to say if you're a man that is being abused, don't feel like you're alone. It happens. I've known some women who were very abusive. So reach out for support, okay? Find a trusted friend or family member. Tell them about your situation. Because, guys, it helps to have someone aware of your circumstances. Even if you're not ready to leave, someone needs to know, okay? Also, connect with local domestic violence organizations, shelters, or hotlines. All of those resources offer confidential support, information, and planning. Okay. They will help you. They will not tell anyone. Okay. Also, develop a safety plan, please. You need to have an emergency escape plan. You need to identify a safe place to go if you need to leave quickly. Okay. Memorize phone numbers. Guys, we all are so reliant on technology and we just press a button on our cell phone. Guys, you're going to want to leave that cell phone behind because they possibly have tracking information on it. So get a burner phone, put the phone numbers in there. But I say memorize phone numbers. Okay. You want to memorize them of your trusted individuals. You want to pack an emergency bag, including essentials like identification, keys, cash, medications, and important documents. Keep it hidden. If you don't have somewhere in your home that you think you can keep it hidden, give it to a trusted person. Or there are places that you can rent a storage locker at airports, train stations. Okay. Do what you need to. You also need to create a code word or phrase with family or friends that signals you need help without alerting your abuser. So, guys, that means come up with a word where you can call your best friend in case that person hears you. You can say that word like, hey, why don't we go get some raspberry mimosas this Saturday? Okay, who drinks raspberry mimosas? Maybe some people do, but come up with a code word. Okay, document the abuse. Guys, this is critical. Unfortunately, law enforcement, there are women who cry wolf, mad because their man's leaving them or cheating on them. So they cry and say there's abuse. So you want to keep records of all incidents of abuse. You want to keep dates, times, descriptions of what happened, save messages, photos, any other evidence that might be necessary for legal action. Okay. Do what you need to. Don't keep it at your house unless you know you have a place you can hide it. Give it to a friend. Get a safety deposit box. Keep that information. Okay. You want to safeguard your communications. So get a secure phone that your abuser doesn't have access to. Okay. Get a burner phone if you can afford it. If you can't, guys, keep your old cell phones, keep it charged. You can still dial 911 if you don't have service on it. Also, on your computer, delete your browsing history. Use incognito mode if you research help online because they probably have tracking stuff on your computer. You want to run checks on your computer and your phone. There are free ones out there to see if they're tracking you. Change your passwords regularly on all your social media, okay? Limit what you share and consider blocking or unfriending your abuser. Guys, you can still be friends with them on social media, but make it where they can't see your post. If you need to do that up while you're planning to leave them, do what you need to. Guys, this is a critical one right here. Open a separate bank account and secure your financial documents. Okay. Also, consider stashing small amounts of money, of cash, whether in Venmo, Apple Pay, whatever, if possible. I told my boys, always try to have 6 months reserves if you can. Even if you're not in an abusive situation, if your partner just walks out on you and takes all the money, and it might take you years to get that 6 months saved up. It's hard. Try to do it. Okay. Also, know your legal options. Okay. Consider obtaining a restraining order or order of protection. Guys, legal aid services can provide guidance on how to do this safely. A lot of domestic violence resources will help you with that as well. Also, seek advice on your rights regarding custody of children and property. So, I have heard so many times people say, if you're the wife, don't leave the house, then you can't keep the house. Guys, your safety and your children's safety, if you have children, are more important than a property. The courts will take care of getting you what's rightfully yours. Okay. And remember, legal advocates can help you navigate this process at no charge. Okay. Plan your escape strategically. Okay. Leave when your abuser is not around and avoid sharing your plan with too many people to reduce the risk of being found out. If you can, don't get into an argument with him and try to leave and say, I'm leaving you right now. That's going to push him over the edge. And it's hard, trust me. Know how you will get away, whether it's with your own vehicle public transport, or friends' help. Try to keep your vehicle fueled and park it facing the street if possible. Don't have to back out. If you have to back out, they can try to block you. They try to, I mean, guys, they try to stop you. I'm going to say this. I'm not a legal attorney. They're going to move if you try to hit them. Okay. They're going to move. Seek emotional support. Engage with a therapist who specializes in trauma and domestic violence. Guys, you can get help before you leave because healing from abuse requires emotional and psychological support. Sometimes you need therapy and to talk to someone to help you get the strength you need to be able to leave. Join support groups where you can share experiences and receive encouragement from others. Guys, that's important. Other people who've gone through it will be able to understand. Other people will try to empathize with you. But I can tell you, if you haven't lived it, you don't know what it's like. You don't. But number one, prioritize your safety. Please, above all, property, you can always get more property. Okay. You can't get another life, and neither can your children. If you feel an immediate danger, please call emergency services. Because, guys, leaving an abusive relationship is risky, and your safety should always be your first priority. So remember, you're not alone. And, guys, I am telling you, the abuse is not your fault. Okay? It's not. I don't give a shit what the abuser says. It is not your fault. No one has the right to abuse you, and no one is asking for abuse. And if they're telling me you've, asked for it, keep your mouth shut, but just tell yourself in your head, they're full of shit. Okay? Help is available. Guys, there is hope for a safer, healthier future. Okay? I can tell you, it is possible to heal from that and find a relationship that is healthy. Take each step at your own pace. Don't let anyone push you before you're ready. Okay? It is your decision when you're ready to leave. Don't let someone else tell you. And reach out to those who can support you along the way. You're going to need that support. Okay? It's hard. Guys, it's not easy. And even after you leave, in my case, I was like, okay, maybe I should go back. Maybe he's changed. Things are, you know, you go through all of that. Okay. I was like, great. I've been married twice. I'm a two-time failure. It must be me. Guys, it's not you. Okay. What is you is making the decision to break that cycle and protect yourself. Okay. So remember to reach out to support. Just reach out. Okay. I want to thank you all for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you all again on Monday for our next episode of Midday Missing. On Monday, we will have guest. We will have a sister of a missing loved one, as well as an advocate for the missing. So you're definitely going to want to watch on Monday as we hear more about that case. Also, don't forget you can join our Facebook group and follow us on all of our social media channels. And you can catch all of our productions on our YouTube channel. Some of it is on Facebook, some of it is just on YouTube. And you can get our podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. So I hope you all have an amazing weekend. And remember, please always stay safe. Take care of yourself. Watch out for crime because it can happen to anyone, and enjoy your wine time. Bye, guys. See you on Monday.